Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. I was away for a while. So many things happening or happened while I was away. So I will give you a little bit updates on different news. The good thing is the arrival of life-saving humanitarian aid in Mekelle. This is very, very important. Uh, this happened in the last couple of days. WFP, World Food Program, already shared a video of the arrival and the unloading of this life-saving humanitarian aid in Mekelle. So USAID also tweeted about this. So this is very, very, very essential, and we appreciate the World Food Program for their continued attention and continued effort uh, in helping the needy or the that grants in a desperate need of humanitarian assistance. These people suffer more than enough, for more than a year. They didn't get the help they needed due to blockade and other, misleading statement from the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his prosperity officials. Also, the animosity around that area from Afar and Amara region. So about 74 trucks, World Food Program arrived. I saw the video. You might already listen to the videos and read the tweets from WFP. So this is encouraging, and these people should be saved. 74 trucks is not enough. World WHO and others, they say they need at least 100 trucks a day. 100 trucks a day. So 74 in a long time arriving is not enough. So more is needed. More is needed. Actually, the whole Ethiopia, especially the Oromia region, also suffering due to drought. I will read one report about this serious drought in Oromia region. Also, special briefing on the East Africa in general, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, this year's drought. I have one report, just a little part of a discussion. So I have that one, and the war in Oromia still ongoing. Never completed as the government, tried to finish within 2-3 weeks. It didn't happen. So the fighting is still going on. I will start with a video I shared with Foreign Affairs. So that's the little update. Also, the French President Macron re-elected for a second time. They say he is the first president re-elected for the second time in the last 20 years. The conflict in Gaza, between Israel and Palestine, is also very high. Rocket firing from Lebanon, Israelis attacking Palestinians, tension very high, no solution. Just keep going, and nobody has a solution for that problem. So let's start with foreign affairs report about OLA military operation. Then I will read other news. Thank you again for coming back. Today is April 27, 2022. There you go.
Welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today we are continuing our coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. And today we wanted to have a look at and an update of the ongoing fighting taking place in the West Shira zone of the former state of Ethiopia, this area where we have seen the Oromo Liberation Army seize control of large parts of this area just to the west of Addis Ababa. And as we know, roughly 4 weeks ago, the Abiy loyalist forces of the ENDF and other regional forces launched an operation designed to push the Oromo Liberation Army out of this area. Again, you can see that is highlighted to the west of the capital, which is this area right here, where you can see the entire country itself. But large areas right now of this area to the west of Addis Ababa is under the control of the Oromo Liberation Army, to include one of its major cities. Ambo is besieged by the OLA, and at the onset of this operation, the Abiy loyalist formations, the ENDF, Ethiopian National Defense Forces, were again looking to clear out the OLA, especially along main arterial routes along the A4, A5, and the B41, which connects Ambo with the A4, A5 highway to the south. But now we're hearing chatter coming out, some of the information that we have received, that at the start of the operation, the confidence of the Abiy loyalist formations were fairly high, that they would be able to successfully negate OLA control in a lot of these areas and retake many of these areas from the Oromo Liberation Army. So what we can say now, going into the third to fourth week of the operation by the ENDF, is that the Abiy loyalist general staff has greatly underestimated both the capability of the OLA and their ability to defend and operate in this West Shira zone. And as we speak, the Abiy loyalist general staff is re-examining this operation. They have faced tremendous difficulties in this ongoing operation against the Oromo Liberation Army. The Abiy loyalist general staff had believed that in many instances the Oromo Liberation Army would simply melt away, and they would take control a lot of these areas that the OLA currently is in control of. But that did not happen. In some cases, the OLA melted away, only to then re-attack many of these areas that the ENDF moved into, and then also in many cases, the Oromo Liberation Army actively provided opposition and defended a lot of these locales that the ENDF attempted to move into. And we do know that going into 3 weeks of fighting, the ENDF, the B loyalist formations, federal police forces, regional forces have suffered many casualties in this ongoing operation, and there's some very valid video evidence that has been provided that shows, in fact, the seriousness of the fighting and the seriousness of the casualties that the OLA has inflicted upon the B loyalist formations attempting to maneuver into the West Shiwa zone. And right now, the operation looks to be in jeopardy in terms of a successful conclusion of the operation. And it does appear that the ENDF General Staff again is reassessing its capabilities to prosecute operations against the Oromo Liberation Army in these areas, and that is what is happening on the ground right now with this update. Now, does this mean that the ENDF is ceasing all operations in this area? Not as of yet. But again, it does appear that they are reassessing because they have lost confidence in their ability, meaning their ability, the ENDF's ability to reassert control over many of these areas. So that is the update, and we will obviously have more as the situation warrants, and as we continue to get information from the areas to the west of Addis Ababa, as we continue to monitor both the operations of the Oromo Liberation Army and the counter operations by the B loyalist forces. Thanks for joining us, and obviously we'll have more very, very soon. Have a good day, everybody.
Okay, so thank you.
Welcome to Jiffy Lube. We're pleased to offer you the choice to stay in your car for our drive-through service. For your safety.
So that's the update I shared from military and foreign affairs media. I trust this guy. I appreciate his reporting. He focused on Ethiopia. He has been reporting on Tigray and on Oromia for several days, especially the whole year he was reporting on Tigray conflict. So his reporting is almost 100% perfect. So he got the resources, the information. So that's the update. And the Abiy government also using drones, and already several civilians, not OLA forces, killed. Civilians are suffering under this operation. When they got beaten, defeated by Oromo Liberation Army, they go after the civilians, those unarmed people, and they punish them. So that is reported too. That's very bad. And so many politicians, international community, the United States, European Union, called upon this prime minister to resolve the issue through dialogue, through peaceful means, but he determined to continue using his tanks and the banks to defeat or to punish Ethiopians, to continue the punishment, just for his power, nothing else, nothing good for Ethiopians, just to keep himself in power. He used the money, the tank, to destroy, to kill Ethiopians. Last time was in northern part, now in a heavily military operation in Oromia region. So again, the international community should pay attention, very serious attention, what is happening. This area is not under the radar of the international community for a long time. I don't know the reason, but it's not like the northern part. The northern part, everything is reported. everything, everything. Maybe the Tigrans' effort is, creating the attention. So the Oromos living in diaspora community, they should do something to speak on behalf of those suffering in Oromia, losing their life under the drones and under this military operation. So the other thing is make me wonder. The ETO 360 reported yesterday, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Tigray region president have something cooking or something planning against the Amara. This is new. They said they got secret document. These two leaders planning in the future, considering the Amaras as their enemies. This is a big difference if they discuss, but I don't know. I'm not sure if this document is real or a made up or is, but they say they got it in a secured form, and they discussed it yesterday. This is something new. How quickly they became friends between Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Dr. Debretsion within a very short. These are total enemies. Abiy Ahmed was looking to kill Debretsion. Now, according to this document, Abiy Ahmed is, plotting against the Amaras with the help of, Tigray region's president. So this is new. If you want to, need more information, listen to yesterday's presentation of ETO 360 program. So that makes me wonder how these two people became friends within a very short period of time. Okay, let's continue reading other materials and have some videos at the end. Oromia region reports 1.3 million cattle days worth 26 billion Ethiopian birr in 8 drought-stricken zones. The Oromia Region Disaster and Risk Management Commission reported 1.3 million days in livestock worth 26 billion Ethiopian birr in Oromia region, a local media reported. The commission also added that nearly 14 million animals have been affected by the drought in 8 zones of the region, out of which 2 million are unable to move without support. Benya Duresa, the Director of Precaution and Disaster Risk Reduction at the Commission, told the local news outlet that the continued absence of spring and autumn in the region has led to severe drought in a total of 8 zones. Benya further stated that the study the commission conducted revealed that a total of 14 million livestock were identified as severely affected. The director explained that providing fodder continues to be the biggest challenge as the drought continues to ravage areas in the Eastern Bale and the Guji zones. he stated that the government has only been able to respond to 10% of the total number of livestock affected by drought. He expressed his hope that if this spring season experiences rain, the damage is expected to reduce. The director, however, underlined his worry that the weather forecast indicate that the weather in eastern and southern Oromia would be dry. So that is a very serious one. I also reported on the drought in the Bale and the Guji zone in the past. But in this report, nothing is said about the children impacted or the elderly impacted and other residents who are dependent on the livestock. Nothing said. How many died? How many, impacted due to the loss of this 1.3 million cattle. This is a big number. And also in the previous report, residents in Bali and other area also expressed the government don't want to talk about the drought and the hunger happening in that area because they are about prosperity, nothing about bad things. So the attention was not given at the time. Now they're saying after everything is exposed, too late. Serious attention was not given when the drought was happened and people complaining for help. So nothing happened, and in this report, nothing said how many people died, how many children impacted, how about the elderly, nothing said. Credit for this one at this standard. This one, this is a digital briefing carried out in online about the humanitarian response to drought in the Horn of Africa. This is related with that livestock issue and the other Horn of Africa. The presenters, the briefers, are one of the briefer opening remark I'm gonna read for you. Mrs. Sarah Charles, USAID Assistant to the Administrator for Bureau of Humanitarian Affairs for Horn of Africa. This is her opening remark. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you today about the devastating drought in the Horn of Africa and the USAID's emergency humanitarian response. The level of need is staggering. More than 20 million people across the Horn will need emergency food assistance to meet their most basic needs in 2022. 20 million people. This is more than 70% increase compared to the region's last severe drought in 2016 and 2017. Drought is not unusual in East Africa, but a drought this severe is. The frequency and the severity of drought in the region and the scale of humanitarian needs are increasing, exposing the devastating trend of climate change that disproportionately affects the world's poorest communities. Already, 1.5 million livestock have died. Crops are nearly non-existent in affected area. In some area, including Kenya and the southern and southeastern Ethiopia, conflict has broken out over scarce resources. An alarming number of children are actually malnourished, and we are also seeing devastating reports from Somalia of young girls being forced to marry in exchange for food and water. That's a crisis. That is a crisis. That's very devastating crisis. Giving your girls for food and water. The United States is stepping up to respond. Today in Geneva, the US is announcing more than 200 million in additional humanitarian assistance from USAID and the State Department to respond to the drought in Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. This brings total support for the region to more than 360 million in this fiscal year alone. Across the region, we are providing critical emergency food and nutrition assistance, safe drinking water, sanitation, hygiene supplies, and medical care. This assistance, coupled with unhindered humanitarian access to conflict-affected areas and greater donor investment in the crisis, is urgently needed to save lives and livelihoods. Evidence shows that early humanitarian intervention is critical to both save lives and protect livelihoods. In addition, early investments have been shown to significantly reduce the need for humanitarian assistance to meet most basic needs to the long term. Where possible, resilience and development investment across the region should pivot to support immediate needs, asset protection, early recovery, and system strengthening to protect resilience and development gains. In addition to assistance, several of USAID's development programs are already working to mitigate the impact of the drought. For instance, the Feed the Future Resilience in Pastoral Area activity in Ethiopia is protecting livelihood assets of drought-affected pastoralists through commercial destacking and emergency water provision for breed stock. However, the impact of these types of efforts are being eclipsed due to the scale and severity of the crisis. Much more is needed, especially as the Russian Federation's war in Ukraine only threatens to further compound the drastic needs as food prices rise and the region can no longer import critical wheat from Russia and Ukraine. The scale of the needs of this crisis are far beyond what traditional humanitarian donors can support. We call on all donors, governments, foundations, and the private sector to help fill critical gaps in the emergency response and help save lives. Contribution to NGOs, United Nations agencies, and the governments working in the region to help ensure contributions are coordinated and have the most impact. So this is taken from the digital briefing conducted today by Sarah Charles and another guy. This is a tragic news from Gondar city. This happened today. Conflict between Muslims and Christians. At least 3 killed in attack on mourners at funeral of prominent local sheikh in Gondar, Amara State. Reports coming out of Gondar, the historic city in Amara State, indicate that At least 3 people were killed after a group of people attacked mourners at the funeral of Sheikh Kamal Legas, a prominent local sheikh in the city who passed away today after a short illness. Several reports also indicate mosques were targeted in the attack. The number of our brothers killed in Gondar has risen to 3. Mosques are currently being attacked. We have heard from residents that homes are being looted in a broad daylight and Muslim property is being destroyed. If the state does not respond immediately to the government or the federal government intervene, it will not be easy to stop, wrote a well-known Muslim scholar, Ustad Bedru Hussein, on his Facebook. The Saling Asaw, Amara State Peace and Security Bureau head, confirmed the unrest to the national media and said that a group of people attacked mourners with rocks, blaming them that the mourners were collecting rocks from an Orthodox church located next to a mosque. The conflict between individuals showed a tendency of growing into a group conflict, said the Saling. Security forces, including the local militia, regional police, including the riot police, were currently attempting to control the unrest, and the youth and the local elders were trying to help security forces, the Saling said, adding the security is in a capable state to manage the situation. However, there has been a great attempt by some individuals to fuel more unrest, including attempts of burning, he said, without mentioning who the suspected perpetrators were. Several Muslim scholars and activists have been reporting about the unrest for the last 4 hours. What is happening in Gondar city? Why is it necessary to leave a black scar that will not go away for centuries before the bad scars of yesterday that we passed through as a country healed? Another Muslim scholar, Ustad Abu Bakr Ahmed, wrote on his Facebook, adding, "Where are you? The regional government, the security forces, the clergy, the elders. You need to stop the damage being inflicted immediately." The head of the Regional Security Bureau blamed groups whom he didn't mention by name for throwing rocks on the mourners, and that there were people who wanted to taint the coexistence between the two religions. Pressure was also mounting to drive the youth from various areas to join the unrest by providing uneven information, he said. Currently, security forces are being deployed to the area, according to him. Earlier today, Gondar city administration paid tribute to the late Sheikh Kamal for having a reputation for freely providing community services, including traditional and spiritual healing to both Muslims and Christians. He was born and raised in Gondar, where he acquired a wealth of knowledge from ancient Habesha scholars and was blessed by his father, Abba Sheikh Legas. He replaced his father and has been providing free medical treatment in his place. His service was not based on religion and belief, said the tribute from the City Communication Bureau. Again, credit to Addis Standard. So I hope this conflict will be controlled. This is very serious religious conflict, and they claim the Muslim mourners collecting rags from church. I don't think this is a real reason. This is just to cover up. So there is issue over there, especially those armed group, the Fano. That's a challenge. That's a challenge these days in Amara region and also in the cross-border areas. So Fano should be controlled. We keep saying that. OLF members, ONN journalists charged with attempts to dismantle government, attempt to form Oromia National Transitional Government. 14 members of the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, and 3 journalists of Oromia News Network, ONN, was today arraigned at Oromia Supreme Court located in Addis Ababa. The 17 defendants in Qasim Abdullahi file presented their defense in writing against charges of attempting to dismantle the legally established government system to install the Oromia Regional National Transitional Government in violation of the 238(1)(b) of the Constitution, the lawyer Tola Mariam Magarsa told Addis Standard. ONN journalist Biqilu Ammanu and Dechasa Wirtu Bati were arrested on November 13 last year and are currently detained at the Dalati Detention Center in Sabata town in Finfinne, surrounding special zone. The third ONN journalist on file, Desu Dula, was arrested on May 25, 2021, almost a year. The previous court hearing took place on April 12, 2022, according to Tolemariam, and was scheduled to happen to order for the defendant to present their defense. Today's hearing was adjourned until May 3rd, 2022. So the issue was justice is not acceptable. No justice at all. And I reported on this before. Even people released by the court, rearrested by undercover security forces, undercover operatives. So no justice in Ethiopia. Justice has been broken for a while, since especially after Prime Minister promised everything when he arrived in 2018. So a lot of people in jail without trial, so everything is on his blessing. If you want, he can release. If you want, he can arrest. If you want, he can order the assassination. Everything is under his control. No justice. No justice. For almost a year, these individuals, these journalists, just for reporting, they are not fighting with a gun and claiming to dismantle the government. So that's the situation. South Africa Freedom Day. This is a press statement from Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State. On behalf of the United States of America, I congratulate the people and the government of South Africa as you celebrate 28 years of democracy. The United States values its close friendship with South Africa and seeks to strengthen the bonds between our peoples and the governments. We hope that the year ahead brings renewed opportunities for cooperation and collaboration in health, climate policy, trade, and other sectors in support of our shared interests. I send our best wishes for peace, prosperity, and a joyous Freedom Day. So that is U.S. State Department on South African Freedom Day. Thanks to Nelson Mandela and other freedom fighters. South Africa freed from apartheid. This is a statement by President Joe Biden on World Malaria Day. I didn't know we have World Malaria Day. No one should die from a mosquito bite. 70 years ago, the United States eliminated malaria in our country. And thanks to strong bipartisan leadership in Congress and the enormous generosity of the American people, we lead the fight to end malaria worldwide. As the largest donor in the battle to end malaria, the United States has helped save more than 10.6 million lives and prevent 1.7 billion malaria infections in partner countries around the world. Together with our partners, we have developed the knowledge and the tool set, including the promising new malaria vaccine to end malaria illness and death in our lifetime. We have worked together to bolster health systems and invest in health workers. We will continue to invest in research and expand our partnerships with regional and multilateral institutions to ensure science is driving our response. Tragically, a child still dies every 2 minutes from malaria. We must step up and do more to finish this fight. We risk losing valuable progress as the disease develops resistance to drugs and mosquitoes develop resistance to insecticides. And as a climate change causes warmer, wetter, and more extreme weather, malaria-carrying mosquitoes will be able to breed and spread through their disease more easily. That's why I am proud to host the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria's replacement conference late this year. Working with allies and partners around the world, we can accelerate the fight against malaria and advance progress towards the Sustainable Development Agenda. My administration is committed to making the vision of malaria-free future a reality. Together, we can build a safer, more prosperous, and more equitable world for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, for engaging with the world and taking the leadership in fight malaria, AIDS, tuberculosis, and other global challenges. So he is doing good. He's not like a Trump. He is not isolating himself from the global challenge. Now, the big challenge they are facing is the war in Ukraine. I hope that will be closing soon. There's a tragedy happening, despite all financial assistance, all the military assistance, all the personal assistance. Ukraine is still burning, and I hope it will come to an end. You know, it's a challenging. The West is not fighting. The West is supplying with everything, but that is not stopping Russia from waging or from bombardment. So let's listen a couple of videos and in today's presentation. Thank you again. Let's see. The first one is a good news about COVID-19 getting smaller numbers. Come on.
The World Health Organization's Director General announced the lowest global death toll since March 2020. According to the World Health Body, there were just over 15,000 deaths caused by COVID-19 reported last week.
Globally, reported cases and deaths continue to decline, which is very encouraging and good news. Last week, just over 15,000 deaths were reported to WHO, the lowest weekly total since March 2020.
The Director General alerted for the drop in testing, which could compromise efforts at following the evolution of the virus. According to a recent study published in The Lancet, the pandemic caused more than 80 million deaths, more than 3 times the official estimate.
Nos équipes d'urgence sont arrivées à la frontière entre la Pologne et l'Ukraine. Elles tentent actuellement d'acheminer du personnel et des fournitures essentielles en Ukraine et de mettre en place des activités d'intervention d'urgence des deux côtés de la frontière. Au point de contrôle frontalier.
After his surprise visit to Kiev last weekend, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told more than 40 defense ministers and officials of countries worldwide that they needed to do more for Ukraine to win the war.
We don't have any time to waste. The briefings today laid out clearly why the coming weeks will be so crucial for Ukraine. So we've got to move at the speed of war. And I know that all the leaders leave today more resolved than ever to support Ukraine in its fight against Russian aggression and atrocities.
He used Ramstein Air Base in Germany, the largest U.S. air base outside of the U.S., to bring NATO ministers, but also those from the Middle East, Africa and Asia together. The location was significant because especially Germany had been reluctant to send heavy weapons to Ukraine. Not anymore.
We decided on Monday to support Ukraine with Gepard anti-aircraft systems, which is exactly what Ukraine needs right now to secure its airspace from the ground. This has become clear again today.
The Gepard or Cheetah anti-aircraft systems are not the combat tanks Ukraine had asked for weeks ago, but it is seen as a breakthrough after the German government was worried about being drawn into a war with Russia, and Chancellor Olaf Scholz warned a few days ago for the possibility of a nuclear war. While many in Europe are looking at Germany to lead efforts to support Ukraine, the United States has now stepped in. With this meeting on German soil, the United States has managed to convince countries like Germany, who are still reluctant to send heavy weapons, to make a turnaround. But the main question now is how nervous this will make people hear that the war will expand beyond Ukraine. Step Fasten from the Ramstein Air Base in Germany.
More children within counties in the lake.
Okay, so that's the update I have. So I'm gonna close by calling the attention on the war going on in Oromia region, the war declared on a total population, not only on OLA, as report coming out from that region. Civilians are dying. Civilian homes are burning. So the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, don't do additional humanitarian crisis. Don't create additional humanitarian crisis. Don't commit more war crime, more genocide. You already have more than enough. This is just a matter of times before you come to ICC or as a, in Ethiopian court in the future. Now, right now, nobody can touch you because you have the power. So please stop. You have committed more than enough crime in northern part of Ethiopia. Now you are committing crime in Oromia just for your power. I call upon you to resign multiple times, just like you, the predecessor Haile Mariam Desalegn. He resigned before things even reached this level. But you are too much greedy about power, about yourself. You don't care about the people suffering, the people dying, the bloodshed you are creating, and the inflation, the high unemployment. Today, Ethiopian university graduates, new graduates and the previous graduates have no hope under your leadership. They're just graduating and they're just walking around and no job, no employment for them. So you are killing the future. You are killing Ethiopia. So please resign and facilitate the transitional government in that country as already called by so many politicians, political parties. So stop the war, stop the bloodshed. Listen to Ethiopians, listen to the Western countries, the Europeans, the United States, advise, have a national dialogue, a meaningful, not the one you are conducting in planning to conduct. That's fake. That's fake. That will not solve the country's problem. So please stop the bloodshed and negotiate. Listen to the grievances, the concerns of those fighters, the Oromos. It's not only about OLA. The Oromos are not happy about your leadership. You have been killing them for many, many years. So please stop and stop this war and please resign and open up a chance for transitional government. And the international community, please put pressure on this guy before, before he continue another bloody war and killing civilians and torturing and other humanitarian catastrophe in Oromia region. So that's all I have for today, and I will be back with other updates, and be safe. So long, everyone.